we don't spend enough time on those relationships, and we don't give them the attention they deserve until it's too late.
I go, what's the one thing? Trust. Trust is the one thing. He goes, if there's even a hint of jealousy, he goes, I know that there's not trust.
You see a dramatic difference. You see them age so quickly, the ones that don't
100%.
have purpose, really.
And so a lot of times people think, oh, I'm in my 50s. I can't keep doing that stuff. And then I look at these guys, they're in their 80s and 90s doing these things. Why can't you?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TPM Show. I am greeted by our special guest, one of our master coaches, the man himself, Coach Steve. And we are going to have a fantastic conversation, one that is going to have a lot of depth and it's going to go maybe a different angle than we typically go. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy it and stick to the end because I think you'll get some practical tips that you can share. Steve,
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, man. It's awesome.
It's
awesome to be here.
It is. We're about to do TAR coming up here. I'm very excited about that. For the guys that don't know, because I always forget sometimes we have new listeners here.
Yeah.
So, I'll let you explain. What's the TAR mean to you?
Oh, for me, it meant everything. It meant a transition for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was lucky enough to attend as a participant, I was transitioning from one role sort of in my life and one role in my business to an entirely different role. So for me, it was a huge transition opportunity.
Awesome. So the TAR is the Alpha Reset. That's what TAR stands for. We use a lot of abbreviations in TPM. Again, TPM being one of them. And it is it's a 3-day, but we call it a 4-day transformational experience. And you're going to be leading this TAR. I'm going to be blessed to be assisting you along with Coach Mike. With Eric also here volunteering. That guy's amazing, isn't he?
Oh, he brings so much energy, so much experience, and like transformation.
Yes.
He's had some huge transformational experiences. And for him to share that with the guys, I can't wait.
I can't either, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And so today you want to throw something on the table. You and I were talking before you even got here about this idea of legacy. And we have a whole event going on in the Sonoma, Napa area coming in November that the men in the Brotherhood and the Inner Circle are going to be attending. What's all about legacy.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, why did you want to bring this up and what came to your mind?
Well, a lot of things came to my mind. I just lost a dear friend 2 weeks ago named Neil Fergus. Neil's a legend of a man. If you Google him, you'll just be amazed at the things that this guy achieved in his life. But the legacy he left was a legacy of love.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind because my relationship with Neil started. I met Neil because I do ARS in the morning. He was a morning gym guy. I met his wife. I met him. And then one day he came without his wife. I'm like, what's going on, Neil? Why isn't your wife here? Jane. And he's a big, massive man. And I could see in his eyes, I could see in just his whole being as he pulled out a picture and said, Jane, right? Well, I lost Jane like 2 weeks ago. It was the first time I could actually be back here, right? And I then got to know Neil a lot over the next 6 years. And what I learned was just about the love that he had, this huge, massive man. And he was brought to his knees by Jane. And so the legacy of love was just amazing.
Well, I think, that's awesome. And you've shared some of this story with me as well. And he sounds like an amazing guy. We should probably go into more of that too. And, when I went to personal training studio in Santa Barbara in my 20s, I was coaching and working with some people in their 70s, and every one of them had either regrets or cherished memories, but usually both around their relationships, and so often as businessmen, we don't spend enough time on those relationships and we don't give them the attention they deserve until it's too late.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he didn't. What's interesting is, so he was married to Jane for 43 years. That was his second marriage.
Okay.
And when I went to the service for Jane's service, one thing that blew me away was the ex was there too. they had this loving family, this blended family. And so he took what, I don't know the details of why it didn't work out with his first wife, but he ended up having an amazing second marriage for 43 years. And the way that they navigated and and just loved on everybody, it was one big family, right? And so one thing he told me, I asked him, of course, I was getting into this business, right? And I'm like, Neil, I go, when I meet these guys, what can you give me as far as tips, of a happy marriage? He goes, there's only one thing, Steve. It's only one thing. I go, what's the one thing? Trust. Trust is the one thing. He goes, if there's even a hint of jealousy, he goes, I know that there's not trust.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's probably the biggest thing that, we get thousands of men that inquire every month. And one of the biggest things is trust on one side or the other.
Yeah.
There's the trust of an emotional or physical affair. But there's also what the women talk about is, do they trust that their man to actually do the work and to be safe, create a safe environment from them? I was recently talking to a woman who specializes in coaching women on relationships. She wants me to be on her podcast, and she was kind of asking what we do. And I mentioned it to her, and she goes, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I told my husband, but he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I don't trust him to be an emotional safe place for me. And so we went through some very dark, dark times, Doug. And I think that holds really true. Trust has got to be the foundation, right?
Absolutely. And consistency. Like if he said he's going to do something, he did it.
Yeah.
And he's also adamant about something that he's like, if you don't enjoy doing it, don't do it. Like, why are you wasting your life? Yeah. Right. And one of the other neologisms or adages was, I'm just going to keep living until I can't. So here he is, 95, and took his last motorcycle ride 2 weeks before he passed.
Wow.
I mean, it just blew me away.
You shared a couple other ones with me and Colton, who does our production here. Can you share some more with the listeners? I thought they were amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull out a card, if you don't mind, because this is something I'll always remember him by. He's American motorcyclist. He was on the magazine cover, right? So one of the things he said about riding motorcycles, you don't quit riding when you get old. You get old when you quit riding. Right. And that could apply to anything,
sure.
Right? If the thing you enjoy doing isn't riding, but it's hiking, if it's playing tennis, if it's whatever the sport, whatever the activity, right? You don't get old, until you stop doing the thing that you love doing.
So true. I mean, how many people do you see age when they go for an official retirement? There's two types of guys. There's guys that move on to philanthropy or to another business or another career as you transitioned.
Yep.
Or there's people that just quit altogether and they get on the cruise ship, and that's all they do.
Yeah.
And you see a dramatic difference. You see them age so quickly, the ones that don't have purpose, really.
Exactly. Or you keep doing that thing because you're afraid to switch and change to something else.
Yeah.
So the thing that you keep doing kills you.
Yeah.
Or you finally quit it, but you quit it too late and it killed you 5 years ago. You just didn't know it. It was quietly killing you, right? Yeah. So the other thing about living, the other thing that he said, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up space.
Ooh, wow.
Like
that's one to think about. Well, how would a guy know if he's living on the edge?
Do you wake up with enthusiasm and excitement for the day?
Yeah.
Is one way you're living on the edge. Are you taking on a challenge? Are you doing something that in your gut makes you feel a little nervous? Leading the tar might make you feel a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're living in that edge, right? So those are the two key things in my mind.
You're going to laugh at me here. I like this, and I'll add on to it. We use Teamwork at TPM as our project management software. I have a task that's reoccurring and private only to me, comes back. It's basically, are you doing something that scares you? And it comes up once a week, just as a reminder to me to push into my edge and make sure I'm doing something scary. And it doesn't have to be scary. Like, I'm not talking, base jumping or wearing the squirrel suit or what have you. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
But pushing the edge, and maybe it's for me, maybe it's putting myself out there more. Maybe it's talking about the struggles in my marriage. That was a huge push for me.
Yeah.
I had no desire to come out publicly and say, hey, my wife and I had problems, but I did so to help other people.
Yeah.
And man, was that leaning into my edge.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Right. The best experience I had living into my edge, and this was part of my transition story, was a buddy of mine I went to college with, kept asking me, would I go on a bike ride with him? Would I go on a bike ride with him? And what he meant by a bike ride was like a adventure, 8, 10, 12 days. And finally, my mom had passed. I had a lot of responsibility towards my mom, supporting my mom. And he called me, says, hey, could you go on the ride with me come February? And I'm like, my mom's passed. Like, that was holding me back. That's not holding me back anymore. I'm scared as shit. I've never done anything like this. I'd never ridden a bicycle more than like 30 or 40 miles, right? Let alone a bicycle for 350 miles down the California coast with all my gear and all my pack on it. And my wife, Robin, dropped me off. He was riding down from Portland.
Okay.
And I met him up in just above Arcata, California. She dropped me off in Arcata, California. I started riding north on 1, and it was raining and all that, and I'm circling. She's videoing me, and she goes, how do you feel right now? And I am scared shitless. Like, I really am scared. Mm-hmm. But I know my buddy is like 30 miles north of me, and he's expecting me to be there, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to go. And that was like 8 years ago.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. Since then, I've taken other trips like that, and yeah, it's just freaking trust yourself.
It reminds me of that Japanese, I'm going to mispronounce this, but misogi.
Okay.
Where you do something once a year, or
yes,
it's common, but it's very difficult. That pushes you and makes you lean into your edge.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Since then, we've done rides in Moab, Zion, Grand Canyon, and every single time there's something that we hit, a snowstorm, bike breakdown, whatever, that makes you lean in and learn something new about yourself.
Wow.
So,
any favorites there?
The California Coast Ride was the favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I got just the exhilaration. Yeah, that was the absolute favorite. But I could tell stories about all of them. They all have stories about them, right? And honestly, all this ties together because it was meeting guys like Neil, guys in their 80s, like you said, who are still living.
Yes.
Who are absolutely living. And so a lot of times people think, oh, I'm in my 50s. I can't keep doing that stuff. And then I look at these guys that are in their 80s and 90s doing these things. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Why can't you just keep leaning in, learning more, getting uncomfortable, and stop believing that you've lived every portion of your life that you possibly could live? There's so much more to live for.
I love that. It's so interesting to me on something I've never understood, yet fallen into it, is what I call the idea of being average. Complacency is really what I'm trying to say. And I remember, when I was in Santa Barbara, California, I had a gym, I had a magazine, and I was consulting. And I had a mentor, and one of the most successful people I've ever met, still to this day. His name was Bill. And Bill was in his late 70s at the time. And I told Bill what I wanted to do. Back then, there wasn't really digital nomads and that kind of thing. And I told Bill, I said, Bill, I want to travel the world. I want to have freedom of time. I want to help people out. And I was trying to kind of basically digital nomad coaching is what I was describing.
Sure.
But there wasn't really any information on that because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And Bill told me, he said, you'll never be successful. You can't do that. If you want to be successful, you got to put your head down and grow these businesses that you have. And I heard that from almost everybody. I had an amazing network in Santa Barbara, just amazing people, still in touch with some of them, love them. But it didn't feel right in the pit of my stomach. Do you know that feeling
100%.
you get?
Absolutely.
But the smart thing, the logical thing was put that aside. That's a pipe dream, Doug, and don't do it.
No.
And you know how that story ends. Here we are at the TPM Ranch.
That's right.
I did. I moved from Santa Barbara to, rolled the dice and went for it. and really, I started to build. I did it strategically, of course, and really went for it. And man, best decision I ever made, because I would still be in Santa Barbara. I would be in a great place, making good money, happy.
Sure.
But that little niggling in the back of my mind would still always be there of the 100%. What if.
Yep. Yep. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. Yeah. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm here in this seat, because we got 9 guys showing up in a few hours, right? And they might be okay, right? But okay is not enough. It might be, average is not enough. I know a little bit about some of these guys, and they're doing very well.
Yeah.
But I want for them so much more. Like, they've got to want it, right?
Yeah.
But at least, we talk about legacy. Like, I'm wearing something from my grandfather right
I love
here. I've got my other grandfather here too. And so they taught me certain things. They taught me a lot of good things, but they're also beliefs that they had that I inherited, right? Like, you can't do this. You can't have everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I love them and I learned so much from them, I'm also carrying with me the fact that we could do so much more.
Yes.
Right. And so I've achieved a lot more. I know there's a lot more to be achieved, but if I can help a few guys just see that light and just step out and live on that edge, and if they're 60, imagine that they'll be 95 and have lived 35 more years of amazingness.
Yes.
That's worth everything.
What you mean, it's rhetorical, right? Because you and I know exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
That we're going to have 9 guys walking out of here. They're going to feel like they're unplugged from the matrix, and they're going to have those next 35 years, as you said.
Yeah.
You're going to take them all to the promised land of that. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
What concerns me is, I'll call it Doug 1.0, who's listening to this right now on the treadmill or out walking the streets, just trying, because they're in desperation right now. They're like, shit, this, like, can it be better? I'll just wait it out. It's not that bad. And they're thinking of their marriage or their life, or they're stuck, and they're just not being decisive in making the decision, which in turn is a decision, right? It's settling.
Yeah.
The decision is to settle for average.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have to be that way. And I want to reach through YouTube, if they're watching this on the TV, their phone, and just shake them.
It doesn't have to be that way.
You're much nicer than I am, Steve. So I'd shake them lovingly, because I care. I'm like, dude.
Right. I mean, yeah. You just, yeah. When that light comes on, when you realize how much opportunity there is, and you take that one step, and then that one step becomes another step, and it lights that fire. You just want it for everybody.
I want to buy you a gift. Look, if your marriage is struggling, and let's be real, every marriage struggles at some point, but yours is struggling where you've lost that love, admiration, respect, I want to help you. I want to buy you a copy of the book that I wrote, A Man's Guide on How to Save Your Marriage Without Talking About It. In here, I've distilled over 8 years of programs that we've developed at TPM to help men just like you save their marriages without talking about it. There's no fluff, no BS. It's an action plan that you can start using today to actually save your marriage and bring that love and respect back into your family, back into your house. You deserve it. Look, all I ask is you pay the postage, you pay the shipping, I'll buy the book for you. That way you can take massive action today. Click the link or find it in the bio and get your copy now.
You want it for everybody. Like I said, you'd love to reach down and say, come on, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Right? Buy the ticket.
Buy the ticket. You already have. You've got the ticket.
That's true.
You got one ticket of the game we call life.
Yeah.
It's an admit one ticket.
Yep.
You don't necessarily know if you're going to get a second ticket ever, right?
No.
I don't know what happens when that ticket's cashed.
No.
You got one shot. And I mean, for the guys listening to this, I want you to think about this for a second. Imagine everything stays the same where you are right now. Nothing major or drastically changes. Will some guy come on to a show and talk about you after you pass? I mean, look at your friend. We're literally doing an episode. We have over 1 million downloads of this show.
Yeah.
We're doing an episode, and we're showcasing him because that's the legacy he left, deliberately or otherwise. That's, and I think most guys, Steve, and I don't know if you find this to be true, they think legacy is finance or a statue.
Right.
Right. They don't think the fact that they're leaving a legacy one way or the other. You mentioned your grandfather.
Yeah.
I'm sure an amazing man. I'm sure a kind-hearted man. But part of his legacy he left you is you can't have it all.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we might say it's a negative legacy. It's not a positive one.
Yeah.
And probably not one he thought of consciously.
No.
But he still left a legacy. And for those guys listening, and then for you and I too, what legacy do we get to leave? Are you fighting for your marriage? Are you doing everything you can for your family, to save your family? Are you doing everything you can to show your kids that being stuck isn't okay, or it's okay to be stuck as long as you're doing something? Like I always picture when I talk to the guys that are going through the acceleration blueprint that we have.
Yeah.
And that's a program we have. We don't talk about much, but it's for men who had done the work and business and everything. They're kind of stuck and don't know what the next steps are. They know something's missing in life. For that program, what I think of it, and I've been in this position, is it feels like you're in a car or a truck, and you're slamming on the gas, working harder, doing more, but the tires are just spinning in the mud. Right. And that's the legacy you're going to leave your kids and everybody around you. Whereas Neil, working hard, showing up to the gym 2 weeks after the passing of his wife, and still, sharing his nuggets of wisdom with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He, like I said, he would show up, he had his seat, and I'm like, what'd you do today? Well, I went and worked on my legs. I got to keep the legs strong, right? Why do you got to keep the legs strong? Well, if I lose those, then I lose something else, right? I got to keep going. What are you going to do today? Oh, I'll go ride. Go ride about 100 miles. Seriously, who's riding 100 miles?
At 95.
At 95. Yeah. I mean, it can be done.
Yes.
Right? It absolutely can be done.
Yeah. So the advisor I had, Bill, who gave me the advice that he gave me, I didn't take. But he was in my gym. He was one of the hardest working people in my gym.
Yeah.
Like I had to slow him down. So I was a strength and conditioning coach at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm training big athletes. And then I got friggin' Bill over here, who was probably 77, out working these guys and talking trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I loved.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is. It's just doing those basic principles consistently that or you need to do, right? But the other thing we talked about was things being hard, right? And actually, if you start doing the right things, consistently, it isn't as hard.
Yeah.
Right? It smooths out. It's easier.
Yes.
And some people don't get the opportunity to experience that.
Well, I mean, analogy, my son's 8 and he just learned to tie his shoes. It was impossible when he started to him. Right? We laugh at it, but we don't even think about tying our shoes. We could have a conversation with somebody, tie our shoes, not even think twice.
That's right.
But if you think of little kids, when they first look at the intricacies of the bows and the knots or whatever else it is, it looks impossible. But what do? They keep trying again, and again until they get it done. Now my son showed me, he got a new pair of shoes. He's in New Hampshire with my wife and my daughter. And he goes, Dad, I got shoes. They're lace shoes too, and he's so proud of himself.
Yeah,
I love that. And I want that for me, quite honestly, like in the next phase of my life, of the things that I'm trying to grow and learn on. And for you and for the men listening for this, I want the guys to be proud of overcoming the next hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. And making it easier.
Yeah.
Right. And learning the skills and learning the tools that make it easier. The activation method, I think, is a great example of that, right?
Yeah.
If we get guys to go through our 8-week activation method program, are they done? No, they're not done, right? But if they keep practicing the skills, if they keep doing what they're taught, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
Right. And the acceleration of whatever it is they're trying to exceed in and do better becomes quicker.
Yes.
Right. Becomes easier. Becomes quicker. Who doesn't want easier and quicker? I can't think of anybody that doesn't want easier and quicker, right?
Yep. Maybe not in the bedroom, but
different topic.
Yeah, in fact, Coach Mark Hainsworth spoke about this. We had our all hands team meeting today over Zoom, and he mentioned a gentleman who happens to be here, And he'd been peeling back the layers, doing the work, getting great results.
Yeah.
And here he is 2 years later, still doing the work and just had a life-changing epiphany come in. If he would have only done if he hadn't done the 8 weeks, it never would happen. If he'd only done the 8 weeks, yes, he would have a better marriage.
Yes.
If he would have only done the 1 year or 1.5 years, marriage still great, life really good.
Yeah.
It's this 2 year mark that it switched for him, and now things are just flying. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we as coaches, that's what we get to do too.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We get to go through it constantly and sharpen our saw. And, my relationship, I just went, I think I told you, on a 5-day trip with my wife, Robin. We didn't go to some amazing Bali or whatever, right? We just went to a little corner of our backyard in the Eastern Sierras and just had the most magical 5 days.
Yeah.
And I would rank that up with any trip we've ever done in our lives together. Mm-hmm. And I really tie that to just the work that we do.
Yeah, man. When you're connected with your partner, the person that you share life with, the person you love, and you can have those kinds of experiences, it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
It's just with them. And by the way, it's a beautiful part of the world.
It is. It is true. It is a beautiful part of the world. We have an amazing landscape to work off of.
Yeah.
But this is the connection we shared, and the tools, the leaving everything else behind. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times we talk to guys about being the CFO, the chief fun officer.
Yeah.
Right. Or making the plans. Right. So that's what I did. I'm like, Robin, she loves our dog Dodger. And Dodger's adorable. Right. I'm like, I think Dodger. I've called the house sitter. She's going to watch Dodger for 5 days. He's going to be taken care of, right? I've arranged a permit to go into the backcountry, right? So I laid some foundation so she could relax and not worry about the things that she loves, which is her little dog.
Yeah.
Right? But then we could totally be connected.
So I want to break that. First of all, great job.
Yeah.
You're eating your own cooking. Right?
100%.
This is what we teach the guys.
100%.
And so for the guys that are newer to this that didn't catch on, what Steve did there is he took the leadership role, became the chief fun officer, the CFO as we call it, and then allowed his wife, basically took his wife's concerns, the ones he knew she would have, and was proactively eliminating those concerns so that she could slip into her femininity.
That's right.
And be present with you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell 100%. You what, man, any woman listening to this is going, that's what I want my man to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And speaking about legacy, I've got 3 kids now in relationships, all starting to have children.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think they didn't notice that?
100% they did.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the legacy that you're going to leave them, right? You're going to leave them the legacy of, hey, even when times get rough in a marriage, and I've never met a marriage that hasn't had rough times, right? Yeah. That you pull through, you work on it, you do what you can, and then you can have this kind of connection that you and Robin have. I've had dinner with you and Robin, and it's a real connection. There's no BS around it.
Yeah.
It's legit, and you've put the work into it.
I do.
Yeah.
We do. We both do.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better because we get to practice a lot, right? Yeah. And when we make the mistakes, we don't, overly own it and worry about it and make excuses. We just own it and we move on. Because we're going to make mistakes. There's going to be challenges. You're going to wake up on the wrong side of the bed some days. That's just the way it is.
100% agree.
So I get really excited about this, about the legacy and just what I've seen in people that I admire and what they've achieved, and then what I see in myself that I still could achieve.
Yes.
And leave legacy. I mean, that's these bracelets I've got are reminders to me as well of guys that resets I've done where I've walked guys through. So I try to bring all that with me to help them to move forward, to achieve a better legacy.
I love that. I think something you're doing, Steve, you're doing so many great things, and you're not only helping the men, but you are showcasing not only to your kids, but to your grandkids. Oh. Your grandkids are going to grow in, hopefully up in a more harmonious home, even than you had, or even that they had. And they're going to have parents who have been not only taught the way, but shown the way. Yeah. Actions are so much better. Mm-hmm. How many times guys have you said, I will never be like my dad? And then you look in the mirror going, oh, crap. I'm making the same bad jokes, the same mannerisms, the little ticks that he makes. I mean, I see it in my brother all the time, who's the CFO for TPM. And it's so funny because I'm sure he was like, oh, I'll never do that. And then just the mannerisms, I'm like, holy cow. But they're also watching and taking in not only our mannerisms, but your kids are taking, I'm talking to the guys listening, your kids are taking in the energy of your home.
Yes.
The way you treat your wife, the way your wife treats you, the energy between you guys. And something I get really emotional about at our events when I'm coaching men, and I get angry, and luckily the guys know that I'm doing this out of care, is I say, hey, look, if you won't advocate for your kids, I will. And your kids didn't ask to be here, guys. They deserve for you to take action and fix your shit, basically. Or at least do your best. You can't control the other person. You just can't. But you can control what you do and the decisions you make.
Absolutely. And you're right. They're 100% watching. And if you don't lead, if you don't lead in the relationship, in the family, then what chance are your kids are going to do the same? They're not going to lead either, right? They're just going to follow and take the path of least resistance and do the things that they sort of were taught to do, not led to do. Right. I see that so often. It is crazy when you see that. And when someone's like, yeah, my daughter just said this thing to me. How does your wife talk to you? Oh, interesting. Right. You think where does she think she's getting that? Right. What's your responsibility in that? Right. What's your responsibility to lead, to politely and in a loving way? That's not the way we talk here.
And clean up when you yell at your kids. If you snap at your kids, clean it up. Use the hidden motives technique, right? Use the things that we teach the men to use on their wives. It's applicable to all.
100%. 100%.
I think this idea I love the idea of legacy. I'm sorry for your loss with your friend, Neil. Sounds like an amazing man.
Oh, gosh. Absolutely.
What a legacy he's left. I mean, again, guys, we're here on a podcast talking about another human, another man, just because of the impact he left on the world by living his legacy.
That's right.
And you guys are going to leave a legacy. Let's give Coach Steve, the guys one or two things that they can do coming out of this to take some action.
I mean, first off, take stock of what that legacy that you want, right? Actually take the time to sit down and just imagine that you didn't make it. You watched this podcast. You didn't make it after the podcast. Something Doug said invariably, right? Put you over the edge, right? What would people say about you today? What would they write about you? What are the things that they would be thinking about you or not thinking about you? Would be one of the first things I would do.
What comes to mind for me right now, what's coming to my heart really is, there's a song, and I'm going to mess up the lyrics, but the chorus of the song is basically, are you really living, or are you just waiting to die? And that resonates with me because I think there's been times in my life that I think, I'm just going through a routine. Oh shit, am I just waiting to die? And it's not really what I'm waiting to do, but I'm not really living and flexing that life muscle. And sometimes I'll do it consciously, like, hey, I'm burnt out. I'm watching Netflix and I'm gonna have a UFC marathon. That's my thing. But then there's other times when I feel like, oh wait, am I just going through the motions? So I'll ask the guys, ask yourself this. Look, if you're being honest with yourself, if living to your maximum potential is a 10, and 0 is the worst, classic 0 to 10 scale, where are you? And let's say we at TPM as coaches, we say you can't use 7.
That's right.
Right? So if it's got to be an 8 or a 6. Where are you? If you are below an 8, and just be honest with yourself, you don't have to tell me or anybody else, then something's got to change. And it doesn't have to be an 8 every day, but it has to be an 8 as like the average of what you're doing, putting yourself out there. And you shared your biking experience. I love that. Robin says, how are you feeling? You're like, I'm scared shitless.
Exactly.
That's where you want to be.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a song, so that made it come into my head. So we'll go back a little bit. So the other one is Michael Franti. You heard of Michael Franti?
Oh yeah, listen to Michael Franti a lot.
Be who you are.
Yeah.
Nothing more and nothing less.
Yeah.
Just be who you are.
Yeah.
I can't sing. But that's the other thing is like, just be who you are.
Yes.
Not what you think other people want you to be, and just lean into that edge of who you are.
Yes.
Because that will take you to the promised land if you really lean into who you are.
Well, that's what these 9 men are going to find out here at this
That's
Alpha
right.
Reset, because I'll tell you what, in my experience, most men have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
They really don't. And it's not their fault.
No.
We've just taken on so much of societal's bullshit and piled it on that, you know, what do the people at my church think? What do these people think about me? What do people at work think about me? And so these guys are going to have the opportunity of just ripping all that stuff off and getting real.
People are attracted to people who are authentic.
Yes.
And who are being who they are. My buddy Neil was being who he was.
Yeah.
And that just meant the world to me. So
that's
awesome.
His
legacy.
Well, Bud, thanks for all you do. Yeah. I mean, you literally have helped hundreds and hundreds of men and their families. The ripple effect is real. That's a legacy worth having.
Thank you.
You got
Appreciate it. All right.
Gentlemen, as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. What's the legacy you're going to live? And so Coach Steve gave you an exercise. Take that exercise and actually do it. Write it down and look at it. And then write a number on a scale of, 1 to 10, like we said. Can't pick 7. Where are you leaning into your edge, right? Where are you leaning into your edge? Do you feel like you can be authentically you with everybody you encounter, regardless? Now, maybe there's a business thing or something you're saying, I got to be a little different. Okay. But for most people, let's say 90% of the time, are you being you? And maybe you don't even know who you is, the real you, the guy staring back at you in the mirror. Go in the mirror right now, right after this, and look yourself in the eyes. Do you know that man deeply? Well, if you don't, I'm going to invite you to find a way to get to an Alpha Reset. They're hard to get into. We keep them extremely intimate. Not the best business model, but we can guarantee a result that way. And just look at the testimonials that guys have been through this have done. Whatever you do, don't just go from one show to another using what I call educational masturbation. Just actually do the work. You deserve more than average. We'll see you next time on the TPM Show.